Now sound. That was my bad. Go.
Hello, we welcome the new viewers to LTHS for the much-awaited battle between the Dukes and the Lions of LT. About halfway through the first quarter with a score of 0-0. Dukes had the ball first, went 3 and out. LT gets it back. They also go 3 and out, capped off with a Joey Massieri sack. And now the Dukes are marching down the field, now all the way into LT territory at the 32-yard line. However, bigger concerns lie in the Dukes running back room, as earlier in the drive, running back Kelly Watson, who was the West Suburban Athlete of the Week, went down with an injury, had to be helped off the field. So we're hoping good things for him. The junior Jake Melvin is in his place right now. Meanwhile, there's a flag on the field. It's an illegal substitution on LT. That'll help the Dukes, and I believe that should move the chains.
It does. It gives them a first down. We do apologize, but sometimes away games are a little bit weird and a little bit funky. Here we are next to the press box surrounded by Lyons Township family instead of where we typically are for away games. So sometimes it adds some complications, but here we are.
Now the inside run to Melvin is snuffed out immediately. Big tackle by number 8 of LT, Danny Pasco.
By number 3, Jack Falls. And number 8, Danny Pasco.
Great play there by that Lyons Township defensive line. A lot of them play both ways, so you're really gonna need to attack them to make sure they get exhausted by the end of the game and hopefully pull out a win towards the end.
Dukes with 4 wide now in the pistol. Veza pump fakes to his left. Now goes deep, and the ball is almost intercepted, but it falls short. Good coverage from number 84, Caleb Greer, a junior.
That was a wonderful job by him, and Veza underthrew that ball quite a bit, and it went right into the hands of the defender, but he was unable to bring it down. Good job by the wide receiver. I think that was Jake Melvin.
That was Specht on the outside.
Specht on the outside to be able to
to
knock it out there. So that was good, but Veza's going to be in tip-top form here for the Dukes to win this game.
Dukes have completed third down conversions. Let's see what they do here, and it's broken up.
Thrown a little behind Mainlander there, but this is the question: is do you go for it? It's fourth and 12 here. Never mind, I was mistaken. I thought it was going to be a 4th and 4, a short one here. But they keep the offense out there. They're from the 30. That's going to make it roughly a 45-yard field goal, which Damian Glotz has made in practice before. But it looks like the Dukes offense is still out there as they believe in their ability to get these yards.
12 is a lot. We'll see what Coach Fitz dials up here. Veza looking to throw again. Good protection. Gets rolling out to his right. Extending the play. Fires end zone. And incomplete. Good overall coverage from the LT defensive backs. And the Dukes turn it over on down after what looked to be a promising drive. LT gets the ball back on their own 30. Relatively good field position. The score stays 0-0. Dukes come up empty-handed after the gamble.
Yeah, that one was more of a communication error between Mainlander and Veza, as Mainlander was on a deep crossing route at the front of the end zone, and there Veza wanted to lead him towards the back corner because the defender was on his inside hip. So he wanted to lead him towards the back corner, and that was a miscommunication. He wasn't able to read that the football was going there and unable to readjust his route to make the catch. Unfortunate, but here come the Dukes defense, who's been stout all year and stout today. Forcing a 3 and out.
The junior quarterback for LT, Ryan Jackson. Meanwhile, here's a run that gets stuffed.
Number 21, Cheney.
Jack Cheney, the starting running back, who had an incredible opening game against Buffalo Grove. Historically trending. He had 230 yards and 4 touchdowns in the game. Quite a day for him. He'll be splitting time with a senior, Jack Falls, who splits time at halfback and outside a linebacker as well.
We're going to see a lot of both of them as LT's main offense involves a 21 personnel setup with 2 running backs and 1 tight end. Here they don't go with that, as they go with just 10 personnel, running back, and 4 out.
LT in the pistol, looking to throw. Quick little out route, but no real yards after the catch after that. Good coverage by Jacob Young, and a good proper tackle on the far sideline.
I think that was Jack Korzanowski with the tackle. They're going to be really stopped. They're going to need to be technically formed with their tackles today, as this LT team is big, strong, and fast. They're going to try and break as many tackles as possible. It's going to be a tough day for the Dukes defense. They're probably going to be very sore tomorrow, as this is a physical game between 2 4-0 teams that are, I think, 1-2 in the conference currently based on point differential. The other undefeated team, Glenbard West, who the Dukes play next Friday at home. So be sure to be there, as that's going to be a huge game as well.
But a big 3rd and 8 for LT now. Looking to throw is Jackson, feeling the pressure. It's a little screen underneath. He's got plenty of green in front of him, and LT moves the chains. Using the Dukes' pressure to their advantage is LT, and the drive stays alive for Lyons.
Only 45 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, and that's a play they really love. Since they have 2 amazing tackles, they have Eddie Turek, who we were talking about earlier, who is arguably even better at offensive line than defensive line, but he plays both ways, and he's getting scouted for both ways right now. And then they also have a huge 6'6", 280 tackle on the other side, and what he loves to do is just shag the defender over there, which means when they're doing that screen, he grabs him by his shoulder pads and throws him down and gets up to the second level, and that's what you saw there, and a great job by that offensive line.
Now Jackson looking to throw again. Blocks picked up well, has a downfield play. Receiver can't make a play on it. Clock stops with about 10 seconds. 2nd and 10 now.
That was Nico Healy, the senior wide receiver there. A little overthrown from the quarterback. And good coverage there by Jack Korzanowski, who was going to, if that was underthrown at all, we understand why he overthrew it, because if that was underthrown at all, Korzanowski had the opportunity to explode out of his break, out of the reaction to the break, and get that ball, as he was undercutting that route pretty easily.
A low-scoring battle is not unpopular anytime the Lions and the Dukes meet. Last year, for the Dukes' homecoming game, they beat LT 14-7. And not much scoring here as well. Jackson takes the snap, and what's one of the final plays of the game. He's got space, looking to run. Now he's going to dive. Gets a couple there. Tackled at about midfield.
Just about the 50-yard line.
Going to be 2nd and 6 and end of the first quarter. This is going to be a really blow-for-blow game. LT coming into this undefeated with a much more impressive schedule than the Dukes, beating decent teams like Buffalo Grove and beating OPRF. And OPRF actually was competitive with Glenbard West for 3 quarters. For 3 quarters until Glenbard West ended up showing their dominance and pulling away. But OPRF is no slouch. And then, of course, for the first time in 8 years, beating their next-door rivals in Hinsdale Central, and them and beating Hinsdale Central in a score of 10-7 in another low-scoring game. So probably expecting a low-scoring one here. Both teams defensively proficient and offensively kind of like firecrackers, where they can get hot quick and they can explode for a lot of points, but then they can also die out and not really do much, as we've seen both from the Dukes and Lyons Township so far this year.
Yeah, outside of the Buffalo Grove game, LT is holding their opponents to 13 points or less. The Dukes defense, no slouch either, holding opponents to 7.5 points per game through 4 games. Last week, the Dukes had the incredible overtime victory for their homecoming game against Downers Grove North, 24-17, after a game-tying kick from Damian Glott sent the game to overtime. Kelly Watson with the game-winning touchdown run. Back to the action here, though. Start of the second quarter. LT starting with it at midfield. Here's the snap from Jackson. He looks to throw. Oh, had an open tight end. Did he catch it? I believe he did. What a grab.
That was incredible.
With one hand, number 18, Graham Smith.
3-star commit to Yale, was also a productive role player. I don't remember if he starts, but if you look back and you're a diehard if you're a diehard YSN fan, you would remember. But Graham Smith was a good rotational player for the LT basketball team who was very successful this year.
Starting power forward.
Starting power forward. So he was very, very good for that team, who was very good and very competitive in the state playoffs and only lost to Glenbard West throughout the regular season a couple of times. And they actually lost in the Jack Tosh final to the Glenbard West Hilltoppers. So Graham Smith showing his athleticism there. That's going to make it 3rd and 5, though, as the flag is keeping it at 3rd down. Don't know exactly what's going on. A lot of discussion happening between the refs and the Dukes coaches. Looks like they're moving it backwards since the second quarter flips the field. It's going to move it back 15 yards.
They're going to say pass interference on the offense. So what looked to be a pretty marginal gain from Graham Smith actually goes 15 yards backwards. Now a 3rd and 21, which at the high school level is especially difficult to overcome.
Especially with Ryan Jackson, who's a junior quarterback, and your stereotypical high school quarterback, and this is your stereotypical high school team. They love running screens, loving power offenses, and not really assessing that deep thirds of the defense.
Now Jackson looking deep, has some time. He's got his open man. Hard to see who that is. That's number 5, Mark Calzada II. Excuse me, Nico Henley. There's a couple number 5s. It was Nico Henley.
Ryan Jackson proving me wrong right after that, making a good throw and a good read on a cutback route by Henley. As he comes running from the sideline, looking to pick up 3 yards here for the Lions' first down.
And that was huge for them. And a gain of 18. Jackson had all the time in the world. Now a 4th and 3. That's manageable.
Definitely. Way easier than a 4th and 21 if that was incomplete. Looking to the sideline. Timeout called LT. Looks like it was just an opportunity to try and get the Dukes to jump. It's most likely they're going to bring out their punt team for this one. But as the teams take a break, so will we. We'll be right back. Stay with us at York Sports Network.
Back to the action now, and just like you said, Josh, the punt team for LT is coming out onto the field. It should be Brian Filosa up back deep to return the punt. Good kick there. Fielded, and bobbled at about the 15.
Great tackle there. I think that was number 24. It is. That's going to be Jacob Campbell, the senior running back, with a good tackle there. 10 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here in the second quarter, 0-0. What can the Dukes do on this drive to get some points on the board, even though they have to travel a total of 82 yards to get there?
Well, I just really think they need to just keep doing what they're doing. They're using slow, methodical drives. As long as they keep setting themselves up with short third and shorts, they can just move the ball and finally get the first points. Meanwhile, here's a handoff inside to Melvin. Pretty good gain there at about 5 yards or so.
Gain of 6 on that play, second down.
Veza, they run the same play, and this time LT was ready. Stuffed by number 99, Kellen and Knopp. One of the many junior starters on this LT team. Another very athletic kid. Now it'll be a 3rd and 5. This is what I was just talking about. The Dukes normally setting themselves up with 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s. 3rd and 5 a little bit longer. They were able to convert last time. Now Veza with 4 wide. Melvin to the left of Veza. Veza changing the protection. Picks up the pressure well, and that is caught on the far sideline. Does he have enough? That's Anthony Mancini, the tight end.
Number 38, Anthony Mancini.
And I don't believe he got there. That throw from Veza was a little bit low. Mancini had to dive forward away from the first down marker. And no, they are going to give it to him. First down. 1st and 10 from the 28 now.
Definitely a generous spot. We are appreciative of that.
Dukes continue to stay in 11 personnel. Now a read option. Veza bounces one out to the outside. Flag comes in at the end. Veza picked up about 2 or 3, but this one may be coming back depending on the call.
My guess it's going to be holding as the Duke players are starting to go backwards. Yep, there's the head official holding offense. Going to push them back there, make it a little bit more complicated, but it will stay first down, thankfully. Going to be able to give the Dukes a bit more ability to pick up yards since it stays first down on holding calls.
Josh, not many teams have been able to control the Dukes offense like they have so far. What are you most impressed with by LT's defense?
I'm honestly impressed with their pass rush. It's been very hit or miss today. I feel like either they get locked up and completely frozen, they don't get to their gaps, but then some rushes, it seems like all 4 get through.
Here's the snap from Veza. Looking to throw, he ends up checking it down to Melvin. That may have hit the ground, and it did. Ref blowing it dead, incomplete.
That was a great job by Caleb Greer, the junior DB wide receiver hybrid. He was guarding Charlie Specht on the press. I was just watching that matchup go through, and he was able to push Specht nearly 5 yards off his line and didn't give him enough time for Veza to find him open.
Second and 19. 3 wide again. Veza looking left, going through his reads, going deep. He's got his open man Specht. He's got it. 35 brought down inside the 30-yard line. The big play the Dukes needed. And it's once again Charlie Specht igniting the offense, beating his man on just a simple post route over the middle, and Veza did not miss him. Huge gain for the Dukes. Running a little bit of tempo, too. Now 1st and 10 at the 28.
Found that they saw a gap in LT's defense and want to take advantage, but things are being slowed down now.
The first shot of the game for the Dukes works. We'll see if they can take advantage. Now Melvin inside. Good push from the O-line. Gets a pretty modest carry there.
That was pretty good there. It didn't look like many gaps were open from where we were, but Melvin always seems to fall forwards, a typical cliche saying that you hear the Madden announcers talk about, always falling forward, keeping those legs driving, but it's really important in situations like that where it's typically a 1-yard gain turns into a 5.
Veza with the snap again. He keeps it himself this time. Now he's got room down the sideline. Veza into the end zone for the Dukes touchdown. The flag comes out late, but if the call stands, the Dukes will have struck first. With 7:31 to go in the second quarter, a quarterback draw from Matt Veza opens up the scoring.
Penalty flag on the play is holding on York.
It'll be a holding against the Dukes. The touchdown does not count. Still a good play call. And a run from Veza.
Showing what the man who's on the preseason West Suburban Silver Conference MVP watch list can do, and he's really going to be the difference maker today and in all the games, essentially, as quarterbacks are, but especially against this LT team that doesn't notably have a great secondary like their offensive and defensive line. They're going to need to take advantage, and they did that earlier, and him and Veza showing his legs there on that one.
Now 2nd and 5. Veza keeping it himself. Same play. Did he get the end zone? No
Saying
signal
out at
yet.
the 2.
No, they're going to mark him out at the 2. Dukes run the same play, and it works again. Matt Veza with another huge carry. Now a 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. Coach Fitzgerald doing a good job of keeping LT guessing on this drive. Veza gives it to Melvin. He's in. Jake Melvin punches it in, and the Dukes open up the scoring with 7 minutes left in the second quarter. A quick 6-0 lead.
What a job there. And by the offensive line, they've been really controlling the pace of this game. As I said earlier about the LT defense, some rushes, they really get beat, but for a lot of them, the Duke's offensive line has been kind of dominating, pushing them back and getting a lot of push there and forcing them to make contact not till 3 or 4 yards after the running back gets the ball and passes the line of scrimmage. And look who's that. It's going to be Will Check with the PAT attempt.
No good, unfortunately, so the score will stay 6-0. Check the backup kicker, who also plays varsity soccer in the same season. Two varsity sports in one season. Unfortunately, couldn't extend the lead to 7 there.
Make sure you stay up to date on all things LT athletics. You can do it in a very simple way by following us on Instagram and Twitter at LTHS_athletics.
Dukes with a very impressive drive, as both guys that I wrote down in my notes to really be a difference maker today was Coach Fitz and Veza. As I said, this isn't a stellar secondary and pass defense that LT has, so Veza's going to need to take advantage of deep shots like he did last round. And then for Fitz last game with me and TJ, we talked a lot about the play calling and how we weren't too happy with it. It was a lot of the same play calls to the short side of the field, but that was a great play calling drive, and we're going to need a lot more of that from Fitz as he showed his prowess as a coach on and off the field there.
Well, I think it's huge that as here comes the kick by Check. That may be out of bounds. Yes, it will. So the flag comes a-flying, and good field position will be a-coming for LT's offense. But back to what you were saying, after that last touchdown drive, you know, the big play from Speck, we know he's capable of it, but the Dukes were really run-heavy before. That long pass, it really keeps the defense honest. You know, you have to respect the passing game. And after LT was kind of lulled into expecting the run, that leaves the big play open. And Speck had a matchup he liked in Veza, of course. The talent he has, didn't miss him. But now then that brings the thought of the deep passing game back into LT's defense mind, opens up plays for the run game, and that's how they finished off the drive.
Definitely, you're exactly correct on that one. Is I think the scared LT's defense was a little scared of what was going to happen if they left their marks on the wide receiver, because Veza can always improvise very well, but then that allowed Veza to knife through the defense as a quarterback runner instead of a quarterback thrower there.
So now we'll see how LT's offense can respond, led by Ryan Jackson. Looks to throw. Now immediate pressure. Oh, shakes off Rainier. Now a deep pass. And short, but a penalty flag comes flying. The ball was well underthrown, so it's going to be pass interference on Reese Richardson.
That's unfortunate there. He just wasn't looking and didn't notice that the ball was underthrown, so he was probably a bit confused as the LT wide receiver changes his trajectory from going to about the 20-yard line at the far corner of where the 20-yard line meets the sideline and starts running into him. So, you know, not much you can do there except turn your head around, and unfortunately there it's going to cost the Dukes a lot of yardage as they're going to now start at the 50-yard line.
I think Richardson was hoping that maybe they wouldn't call it because the ball was uncatchable. It was a good 5 yards underthrown, but does not get the call. And it'll be a 1st and 10 from midfield now. The deep shot works to an extent. Now 1st down. Here's the handoff to Cheney. Cheney not getting as many carries these past couple of drives as we would have thought.
That was a great job by one of the linebackers. I couldn't tell who that was from where we're at, but was able to get the penetration towards the middle of the line and get around the offensive line to stop it, even though the edges of the offensive line really had a great push on the Dukes' defensive end, on the Dukes' defensive ends and edges.
Support a great cause and maybe walk home with a win yourself today by buying a 50-50 raffle ticket from the
Under 6 minutes to play before halftime. For those of you just joining us, the Dukes scored on their last drive, a 3-yard rush from Jake Mellion. And we'll see how LT answers on this drive. Now the give. That's number 7, James Georgiolis.
With the carry. Under the 42-yard line. Gain of 7 on that play. 3rd down.
Duke's defense going to need to stand here. LT probably going to go for it if it ends up being a 4th and short, so they're probably going to need to send him backwards, as it looks like they have their typical 21 personnel in right now.
3rd and 2. These are the situations that LT likes, and you see why right there, just relying on the power running game. Georgiolis gets the 1st down and a little bit extra. A big body there. He's tough to bring down. One of the electric playmakers on the Dukes defense is the junior Cole Ostendorf. He was also on the team of the week last week, joined by Watson and Dominic Begora, the right tackle for the Dukes. But Ostendorf, seemingly last week against DGN, was involved in every single negative play. So many tackles for loss.
Multiple sacks. I think it was 6.5 tackles for loss and 2 sacks for Ostendorf. What a night.
Now Jackson looking to throw, facing some pressure, running out of time, and has to scramble. Gets a pretty good gain there for a 1st down run. The broken play turns into about 5. It'll bring up 2nd down and about 6.
And that's what Jackson is best at. He's a great scrambler. He's able to really make reads on if he's going to be able to get out of this and throw it downfield or tuck it and run it. And there, he was able to get quite the yardage, even though he was kind of pinned to his own sideline, and accelerates past the defensive end to be able to reach that ball out for a 5-yard gain.
And only a junior, too. Did not start it against the Dukes last year, at least. And he definitely allows a lot more versatility, whereas last year LT mostly relied on like QB powers from their quarterback. Jackson doing a good job early. Now looking to throw again. Missed blocker. That's Drew Villard. He sends him flying, however. Jackson, did he get back to the line of scrimmage? Kind of the same play last time where he was forced out to his left. Now scrambles down to left sideline. for a couple. We'll see where they mark it.
No gain on that play. Third down.
They're going to say no gain, so a 3rd and 6 now from the 31. This is a huge 3rd down for this Duke's defense, excuse me. Hoping to get their offense back onto the field before halftime.
That'd be very clutch for the Duke's defense to be able to pull that off as well. But the kicker for LT has a leg, so I don't think if you're LT and they weren't able to convert on the PAT, I think if you're not able to get this, you go for the field goal depending on how many yards you're able to eat into this first down marker.
3rd and 6, Duke student section making some noise. Here's the run to Georgelis, and he is stuffed. Just a quick little halfback sweep to the left side and a great push from the Duke's front 4. Leads to a very, very short gain, if any gain at all. Now 4th down, loss of 2. It's 4th and 8 now. LT forced to make a decision. It would be pretty good field position if they do go for it and do not get it. And there is plenty of time for the Dukes to go back down and score before halftime.
And the Dukes are, or an LT's offense is not going to go for it, as the kicker does have a leg on kickoffs, converting 13 of 18 kickoffs to touchbacks, but the only in-game field goal he's made past 30 yards is 135-yarder.
Timeout taken by LT before this crucial 4th and 8. 3:14 to go in quarter 2. With this timeout, we'll take a break as well. You're listening to York Sports Network. Don't go anywhere.
Fourth and 7 here from the Duke's 33-yard line. Going to need to get to the 25.
And that is Jackson on the field. A lot of noise being made from both sides. This is a huge play. Jackson rolling out to his right. Looks to throw. Is he caught? No, he's out of bounds. The Dukes get the much-needed stop. And with 3:09, the offense will come back out onto the field. The Duke sideline is electric. The PA rollout kind of worked.
It was blown up by Ashton Naraki as he was able to come in and destroy the tight end coming across on that split block there, and was able to get him up in the face of Jackson, so Jackson wasn't able to make a clean throw and overthrew the wide receiver quite a bit.
So now back to work comes the Duke's offense, and right away the halfback sweep to Jake Mellihan goes for about 8.
Number 84, Caleb Greer. Gain of about 8 on that play. Officially gain of 9 on that play. 2nd down.
Duke's offense working with some tempos, less than 3 minutes remaining here in the half.
Another run, this time to the inside. Mellihan gets the first down and a couple more. Moving their way to midfield. Got to expect the Dukes will start throwing it, although they do have all 3 timeouts, which is very crucial for a situation like this. Got to imagine this is a situation they've practiced in practice quite a few times. And the extra points would be crucial here, given that LT will be getting the ball to start the second half. They deferred on the coin toss. Beza looking to pass this time. Now a route into the flat for Anthony Mancini. He breaks 1 tackle. Still only gets about 4 or 5.
Tackle by number 87, Luke Wheeling. Number 11, Noah Paflin.
Great job by Mancini to break a tackle there, as it looked like it only would have been a gain of 1, but makes it a gain of 5.
Three wide for the Dukes. To give to Veza. Veza doing a good job of moving with his legs. Gets the first down there. You saw they brought in the extra blocker, Mancini. Kind of pulled him to the right side, and Veza could just follow his lead. Mancini, a very physical blocker as well. And it led to the good pickup.
Injury timeout here. Unfortunately for Lyons, that is going to be number 8, Danny Pasco, senior running back and linebacker.
He's up on his feet now, which is always good to see. Just walking off on his own power, back to the sideline. Probably sit out a couple of plays. Applause for him. Glad to see that he's okay.
Quick little pause in the action. So both the offense of the Dukes and the defense of the Lions get back out there and ready to wreak some havoc on each other.
Clock is still rolling despite the injury timeout. Now Veza looking to go deep. Fires down the far sideline. It is. Is it caught? It is! Touchdown, Dukes! Charlie Speck, unbelievable grab!
The Duke student section is going wild. What a throw by Veza. That is the tightest window I've ever seen a high school quarterback throwing into, and was able to fit it in there right at the pylon, and Charlie Speck able to make the concentration grab as the Dukes are going for 2 to make it a 14-0 lead going into halftime.
That is one of the most unbelievable catches I have ever seen in a Dukes game. What a grab. Just put right in the basket for Speck to make the play, and the body control to stay in bounds. You'll never see anything like that. Now the Dukes going for 2. A quick rollout and a wide open man. Oh, Veza missed him.
That was Filosa. He threw a little bit too far to the sideline. The exciting part is that the Dukes are now up 2 scores, but the issue is, if there is one, is if the LT offense now has enough time to try and put some points on the board, and that would be a huge momentum swinger for them. Even though they don't get the ball back at the second half, getting points is going to really be a morale booster, as LT has really kind of been dominated this whole game. Is the closest they've been. They haven't even reached inside the Dukes' 30-yard line. The Dukes have been inside LT's 30-yard line for obviously the 2 scores, but then as well as one more time, and that was when they went for on 4th and 12, I want to say from like the 29, roughly around there, and that was the missed throw to Melvin. Unfortunate there, nothing you can do. What's done is done, and the Dukes have been able to adjust and score twice since then.
And just because I can't stop thinking about Speck's touchdown, I mean, that was great coverage by LT, I will say. There was very, very little separation, and Speck just goes up and makes the play. Meanwhile, the kickoff is fielded at the 10, dragged down at the 15. What a great play that was by number 4, Evan Grazzini. Just took his legs out from underneath him at the 15-yard line. So now 85 yards to go to get into the end zone with 1:09 to play.
So there's a little break on the field. We'll take a quick break. Now a 1st and 10.
minute and 9 to go. The first play is a run up the middle, seemingly so that LT just kind of wants to get into the locker room with the score as it is. Don't look to be aggressive in pushing the ball down the field.
That was probably a decision made during that little break, as they were pinned back much further than I'm sure they were expecting, with Will Check as the kicker. He hasn't been having his day of days today and kicking it into the end zone like the LT kicker has in the past. So they're much further back towards their own end zone than they expected, and they don't really have the time or want to risk a possible turnover for a touchdown or good field position for the Dukes. Just going to let it go to halftime the way it is.
Just like you said, letting the clock run. The run to Georgeless. And that should be the last play before halftime. Letting the clock run out, so the Dukes go into halftime, pitching a shutout thus far. They lead this one 12-0, scoring 2 touchdowns with a missed extra point and a missed 2-point conversion. But I will say that second quarter, the Tides really turned, the momentum shifting in the favor of the Dukes. A couple of key defensive stops, really turning up the intensity when they needed to, and obviously the offense led by Charlie Specht. 2 huge catches, one of them going for a touchdown. Really helped the Dukes offense ignite. Josh, what were you most impressed with from the Dukes in this?
I was really impressed by the offense. The offense was something I was a little bit nervous about, but as a couple of sources at York High School told me, they believe the DGN defense is much more prolific than the LT defense, and it showed it here as the Dukes were able to score twice as many points as they scored against DGN in the first half here, and has really taken control today, and their offense has just been rolling with it, and multiple possessions inside the opponent's 30-yard line, and definitely opportunities to go up big for the Dukes. And we're going to see if LT is able to respond and move the chains and start to stop the Dukes defense. They are still within striking distance, thankfully for them.
And absolutely. And LT is definitely not a team that you should write off whatsoever. I mean, this is such an experienced and talented program. That's definitely just not a team you can count out at all in the second half. Should be an exciting finish to this one. We had a great first half. Dukes lead at 12-0. At about 20 minutes, we'll be back for the second half. You're listening to York Sports Network. Hello, and we welcome you back to LTHS. Start of the second half, just about to go underway. Here's the kick from Czech. This one's actually a boomer into the end zone and a touchback, much better than his previous kickoffs. And a round of applause for Czech.
Just had to get warm, it looks like, as he bombed that one. It was quite the kick. Good job by Czech for his first career touchback as a high school kicker.
So it'll be LT's offense starting with it, trailing by 12 at the start of the third quarter.
LT's offense has been decent, but not necessarily great. They've put together some good drives to get some good yardage, but they haven't been able to put any points up on the board yet.
Yeah, they just haven't done a good job of finishing off their drives. They're getting to about the 30-yard line, then either a lack of discipline with some costly penalties or just not being able to convert, and the Duke's defense making the stops when they've needed to. So the first play of the second half is caught. Gain of about 6. That's 11. Noah Plaffin. Tackled by number 22, Jack Korzanowski.
Korzanowski on a few tackles today, has an effective day today at corner so far, even though he hasn't been targeted too much. Him and Richardson make a nice 1-2 combo on the outside.
Then you have the safety, Matt Sutter. So overall, the Duke secondary has been pretty solid today, really not giving Jackson many options to go. Now, speaking of which, Jackson forced to scramble again, has some room, has the first down and more, pushed out at about the 40-yard line. So the Duke's pressure not getting there, and that's the risk you take. When you have good downfield coverage, you got to make sure that the quarterback can be contained in the pocket. That time he was not, and the scramble goes for about 15, 20 yards.
Jackson showing his athleticism is not many people have been able to avoid Evan Grazzini throughout the course of the years. He's been a dominant outside linebacker for the Dukes, and there he just juked out Jacob Young and was able to get the edge on number 4, Evan Grazzini.
So now a 1st and 10 from the 40. LT with a fullback. Now here's the run to Georgelas. He is met at the line of scrimmage.
That's going to be number 13, Andrew Villard with the play. Stood him up at the line of scrimmage. What a job by him.
Joey Massieri was there as well to clean it up. Another outstanding athletic junior linebacker.
Dukes have many of those.
That they do. This front 7 is a force to be reckoned with. Now 2nd and 10. 3 wide for LT.
Duke student section getting loud.
That's probably the loudest part of the field for LT, right in front of the pretty large Duke student section. Play action now. LT on the rollout. That is caught. Noah Plaffin again. Still going to bring up a 3rd down.
3rd and 4 here, very manageable. LT has actually been quite good today at getting those manageable 3rd downs, but they've been iffy on if they've been able to convert them.
This would be a huge stop for the Dukes here, getting their defense a rest. 3rd and 4.
Long wait up there.
In the shotgun, and a timeout will be called by LT. LT's coaching staff not liking what they're seeing. They're going to call a timeout, talk one over really quick for this 3rd and 4.
9 minutes and 32 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. LT a little thrown off by the Duke student section. As you've been saying, they are quite large for being probably a 20-25 minute drive for most Elmhurstians, as well as on a Saturday. Typically, games are on a Friday night, but LT does it differently. They've had a historically amazing and dominant soccer team, and they typically have their homecoming Friday night games for their soccer team, which has always been successful. And then on top of that, they also like having all of their games be played today, as they had freshman A early in the morning, then B, then sophomore, then varsity and JV towards the afternoon. The sophomore game right before it. Unfortunately, the Duke's sophomore team suffers their first loss of the year and unable to topple the Lyons Township sophomore team. As I think I want to say it was a 33-26 score.
33-32.
Wow.
So 1 point game, yeah.
They must have scored there at the end and not able to convert the extra point for the win. Or was it, do you know if they went for the extra point or they went for the win?
I'm going to be honest, did not see. Just saw the final score. But back to the varsity game, a 3rd and 4 from the 46-yard line. And the shotgun is Jackson. Jackson nowhere to go, but he scrambles for the first down once again, diving across midfield. Really getting it done with his legs today. And LT moves the chains.
Good job there by John Rainier to nearly try and fly backwards to try and tackle the speedy Jackson, but wasn't able to get him in time and got it by maybe a foot or so.
There's number 3, Jack Falls, sort of that hybrid linebacker fullback that we see. Likely going to be using him as a blocker. Here's the run to George Lewis. The extra blocker proves to be very helpful. Gain of about 5. Cole Ostendorf with the tackle to a pickup of 5. And speaking of the LT soccer team, like you mentioned earlier, Josh, they're going to be coming to Elmhurst to play the Duke soccer team for a classic number 1 in state versus number 2 in state at York Stadium. Should be an electric game. We'll be covering that on YSN later in the fall. Now 2nd and 5, Jackson looking to throw a slant. That's batted at the line. Number 2, Jacob Young.
What a job there. He's able to get up and get it tipped and get in the face of Jackson as he realized he had a free rush and saw Jackson looking his way and jumped up and perfectly timed it to bat it down. Would have been cool to get the interception.
There was a flag on the play, but the ref goes to pick it up, so now it'll be a 3rd down still. Duke secondary in a little bit of confusion, not knowing what had happened since Young had tipped the ball. And the ref rightfully picks up the flag. So now 3rd and 5, another big 3rd down and like medium yardage for Lyons.
Lions always taking their sweet time trying to get these plays exactly correct. We'll see if that turns into effectiveness.
Jackson with George Lewis in the backfield. It's a misdirection. That is number 84, Caleb Greer. And the reverse sweep really, really works. A pickup of about 10 or 11. Moving the chains for LT. And with 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, LT is really driving. We've seen this from them in the first half, where this is kind of the zone where their offense is sort of lulled, but they're kind of in between field goal and punting range. So we'll see if they can finish off the drive and put up points on the board for the first time tonight.
And we saw during halftime their kicker making it quite easily from around this distance. So I was surprised that they went for it on 4th when they were only down 6. But we'll see again this time. Hopefully they're going to. For them, they're going to try and get the first down, but if they're unable to, they're definitely in field goal range.
Jackson rolling out to his right. His deep option was double covered, so now he has to scramble again. He was looking for his man, number 17. That is Jack McQueenie. But good double coverage there, took that option away. Jackson didn't really have anywhere else to go with it, so he scrambles for about no gain.
And what a block by George Lewis, able to fend off. I don't remember who that was, but it was definitely a D lineman as he was able to hold up and give Jackson the time to be able to get back to the line of scrimmage. Actually gained 1 yard there for that one.
Now Jackson looking to go deep again. Oh, and great coverage there. Number 29, Reese Richardson, was all over that curl route. Intended wideout is Nico Henley. And now a 3rd and 9.
Coverage provided by number 29, Reese Richardson from York. 3rd down.
Perfect, thanks. The Duke student section getting pretty loud again. 3rd and 9. Fake handoff to George Los. Now pressure coming. He evades it and finds his open man. That's Graham Smith. His 2nd target and his 2nd reception. The 3-star Yale commit. And a huge pickup for Lyons. Duke's had a free runner, but showing his elusiveness was Ryan Jackson, avoiding the pressure and finding the open man. Great composure. Now 1st and 10 from the 23, nearly in the red zone for the first time today is LT.
Great job there by Jackson, once again juking out another Duke's defensive lineman. So athletic and shifty. Able to get those quick lateral movements. And as the teams take a break from the field, so will we. Stay right here as these two rivals go head-to-head, and LT could possibly cut this lead in half.
That Graham Smith completion, the ball hits the 22-yard line.
Following the Graham Smith completion to move the chains, LT has it on the Duke's 23. We'll see if the Dukes can bend but not break. Here's the handoff to James Georgeless, who's really taken the majority of the carries away from Jack Cheney, surprisingly.
LT taking their time. As I think they did. I was wrong in the first half. They did receive the second half kickoff, and they've taken nearly half the time, or they will eventually end up taking over half the time of the 3rd quarter. Really grinding clock, but when you're down a couple of scores, it's a little confusing, as then whenever eventually the Dukes get it back, they could just do it again, and then it's the 4th quarter.
Jackson facing some pressure, but delivers a nice ball. Number 3, Jack Falls. Tackled by Grazzini, but not after. Falls nearly picks up the first down. And yes, he did get the first down. Moving the chains, ball spotted at the 10. So now this LT student section and parent fan section really starting to rev up, as LT now has a 1st and goal. The closest they've been to the end zone thus far.
Great play design there as a little screen pass. Really worked out well with that size of the offensive line.
Now here's the handoff to Georgeless. Gets met by a bunch of defenders.
Number 7,
Drew Villard was there to stuff him. Should be a loss of 1.
Looks like they're going to keep it at the 10, though. Going to make it 2nd down and 10.
Two wideouts for LT on this one. Now a read option here. He beats the edge, gets the corner. Jackson into the end zone for the touchdown. The read option, and he beat the Dukes linebacker to the corner and scores their first touchdown of the game.
Flag on the field there at the end. What a job by Jackson. Finally they use it in a goal line situation, but that's the first time they've ever been near the goal line today. And a very effective play call there as the entire defense collapsed on the running lanes to the right.
Just a half second too slow was Marquand Brewster. It's really tough to contain a guy like Jackson, and using his legs just like he's done all game, gets the first touchdown for LT. And that was a huge bounce back drive for them. They were sort of still plenty of time, but you know, they were definitely, the penalty is declined, by the way. It was on the Dukes, so the touchdown will stand. But as I was saying, LT, they weren't really on the ropes, but very unusual of them to put up 0 points in a half. So that touchdown drive really brought their confidence back, brought the energy back in the stands, and now it'll be the Dukes to answer the bell.
Nearly blocked there. That's number 22, I want to say. Jack Korzanowski, that would have been, if it is number 22, who nearly blocked it. But it's going to be, as the friendly PA announcer here at Lyons Township South Campus, this is Bennett Field where we're at, and it's going to be assessed on the kickoff. The unsportsmanlike conduct was on LT, and it's going to be assessed on the kickoff. So wherever the kickoff goes, add 15 yards to that, and that's where the Dukes are going to start their next drive.
Now 5:22 remaining in quarter 3. Over a 6-minute drive was that last one from LT.
Scoring summary for your Lions. 15 plays on that drive for 80 yards.
15 plays, 80 yards, 6. Oh, I'm going to do some quick math. 38. 6 minutes, 38 seconds. There we go. And the methodical drive that they needed. Duke's defense was just gassed by the time they got to the 10-yard line. Able to punch it in to cut this deficit to 5. Now it's the Duke's turn. We'll see how they answer. Kickoff is hooking left. Received at about the 14-yard line. That's Chris Danko, number 81. Still not going down, using his speed to get to about the 36, 37-yard line. So a pretty good return from him, actually. Good downfield blocking. So now out comes Veza and company. The last drive of their first half ended with a 50-yard bomb to Charlie Specht. They've really gotten things going. And we'll see what adjustments this LT defensive coordinator has made. See if they throw like a double team on Specht or something. This is a huge series for the Dukes. They started with an inside run to Melvin. He's wrapped up, but he still falls forward to gain a couple. Gain of about 1 or maybe 2.
Duke's run, tackled by number 78. Eddie Turk. In a 2 on the play, 2nd down.
Still no word on Kelly Watson's injury, but we do see him on his feet on the sideline, running back and forth. Maybe it was just a cramp or something. And meanwhile, here's a catch by Luke Maylander on the outside. That'll move the chains for a first down.
Veza's pass is complete to number 84, Luke Maylander. Tackled by number 4, Quinn Barnett. 10 yards on that play, ball to the 49-yard line. We're just first and 10 Dukes.
Now 1st and 10 and almost in LT territory. Dukes go 3 wide. Now the handoff to Melvin. Melvin has space on the outside. Melvin bounces one out to the far sideline. 1st down and more. The flag comes out at the end. Hopefully that is not a holding, because that was a gain of about 13 from Jake Melvin on the halfback stretch.
I saw Charlie Speck there blocking the defensive back. I want to say it was George Los there, and then he took his hands up and threw them up in the air as if to act innocent to a holding call that could have been on him, and then immediately after I saw the flag thrown about 10, 15 yards. So quite the throw from the ref to throw it from the backside all the way into the pile.
And it was
in
fact a holding call on the Dukes. So that'll back them up significantly. 1st and 10 becoming 1st and 20.
You're going from a 1st down at the opponent 39 to now a 1st down at their own 10. And Coach Fitz is not too happy with that one, having a few words.
The one that's going to stick is a holding call on New York Duke. The holding call moves the ball to the 41-yard line, where it is now 1st and 18.
First and 18. They give the ball back to Melvin. And 1st down, still not down, but basically down. Gain of a few.
Duke's run stopped by number 7, James Georgelos, and number 8, Danny Pasco.
I will say, in terms of battling the line of scrimmage between the Duke's offensive line and LT defensive line, I'd say it's pretty even thus far. There definitely have some moments LT has had where they've gotten good penetration, and then a couple times where the Duke's O-line has just absolutely pancaked them. So I would say it's been a pretty even battle thus far.
Definitely, but that LT defensive line has definitely been more effective here in the second half, as Melvin was only able to get some real room by going off tackle.
That is true. And the Dukes open up the passing game. Here's a catch by Maylander. Not Veza's best effort, but that was as good of an effort as Luke Maylander could have made, putting his body on the line at about midfield. That'll bring up a 3rd and 8. Maylander, a fantastic route runner and has great size as well. Able to lay out the body to make that catch.
He's been looked at that out route a few times by Veza on this drive.
Now a big 3rd and 8 to keep the drive alive, to keep the defense off the field. Let's see what Fitz dials up. Veza facing a little bit of pressure, being chased out, looking to go deep. He's got his man Specht. Incomplete. The LT defender had completely fallen down. I wonder if he hit the ref or something, or just the turf monster, but Specht had no one near him. Unable to connect, though, with Veza. And now a holding penalty on the Dukes will push him back even farther.
Penalty flag is for holding on York.
Surprised it's going to be accepted, as that's going to give him another chance to go for it. Because I don't think Coach Fitz, even with a 5-point lead, was going to go for a 3rd or 4th and 9 at midfield. That would just give him too good of field position. But LT accepts it, and hopefully the Dukes can provide something outstanding again, as Turk was there on the pressure, but the offensive line has got to stop holding. That's, 3 holding calls this drive? And, it's just absolutely killing all momentum that the Dukes offense is having.
So the penalty is declined, actually, on second thought, so out comes the punting unit. Number 14, senior Mason Balfans. Out to punt to give the ball back to LT. James Georgelos is back to return.
To receive for your Lions, number 7, James Georgelos.
Good snap. Balfans plenty of time. Bounces once. Now fielded at the 10-yard line, where he's met by a bunch of Dukes. Really good punt there from Balfans. Duke's special team unit, definitely a strength of theirs.
With the punt return for your Lions.
We saw him working on that exact play, or that exact punt, as Coach Egan, former punter at Ball State University. No better experience to give a punter than being a punter in D1 college football, as Mr. Egan, or Coach Egan, as we should call him, was showing Mason Balfans that exact punt, and he was able to work it to perfection there and pin him down inside their own 15. So wonderful job by the special teams unit.
So now out comes Ryan Jackson for the second time this half. Last time he was able to lead a 15-play, 80-yard touchdown drive, complete with a 10-yard scramble from himself. And now back to work. We'll see what he can do. First play, there's a flag.
False start.
False start, and it will be. So
pushing back to the 9.
Not a great start for LT. First and 15 now, as one of the linemen moved early. 2:31 remaining in quarter number 3. Only scoring of the quarter comes from LT, making it a 12-7 game.
Ball on the 9-yard line, where it is first and 15.
Two minutes and 20 seconds here left in left in the third quarter. LT hopefully capitalizing, because any score here in the end zone is going to result in a lead for LT.
Now first and 15, the out route is incomplete. The play action to the right side has been very, very popular for LT's passing game thus far today, using the strength of their offensive line, especially on the right side, although Eddie Turek, the man with 17 offers, is actually playing on the left side, so interesting why they're running the majority of their passing plays to the right side, but I don't know. That's why we're not on the LT coaching staff. Second and 15. Now another rollout to the right side, chased into the end zone and forced to throw it away. Great pressure there. Cole Ostendorf was in the face of Jackson. Now a third down and 15. The Dukes really answering the bell.
No flag on the play.
Getting the pressure when they really, really need to.
Big defensive stand so far by the Dukes defense. Hopefully they could finish it out, because if they're able to get a first down, pinning them down this far doesn't really mean much. And those first two great plays by the Dukes defense also doesn't mean much. So you need to convert on third down, because that's where drives are made and broken.
We'll see what LT dials up, if they really play aggressive or conservative. Looking more toward conservative, as there's a pass caught by Henley. Just a short pass, a quick little slant just to get some yards and maybe play the field position game a little bit. Still backed up quite a bit. So the Dukes should expect pretty good field position, barring an absolute moonshot of a punt.
Which could very well happen.
Which could very well happen.
The special teams unit for LT is known for their legs. They got cannons, and they're able to kick it far. As you can see, that's Chris Danko, about 60 yards away from where the punter is currently standing.
Nonetheless, a fantastic 3-and-out for the LT offense caused by the Dukes defense. And now here's a hooking punt. That one was really skied up into the air and did not go the 60-yard distance that Danko was expecting. Ball down at the 36-yard lines of LT. So the Dukes only have 36 yards to go if they want to score a touchdown.
So essentially what just happened is we went back to where we were after Jake Mellion had that off-tackle run for the first down. So those holding calls, we're just back where we're at. So the Dukes are looking to continue that drive. Nothing happened.
Yeah, right. Just a couple of minutes shaved off the clock, which the Dukes will certainly keep. Here's the first play of the Dukes drive. Goes for about a yard. Mellion up the middle. But we can't stress enough how important that defensive and then special teams stand was, pushing all the momentum for the Dukes. back in their favor.
Especially after, not the greatest drive. There was some good offensive possessions, but kind of shooting yourself in the foot there with multiple penalties.
Now Veza looking to his right, a quick pass, caught by Specht, gets the extra yards after the catch, moving the chains. Just a quick little strike, goes for about 9. And such a good route runner like Specht, he can have all the separation in the world on these middle throws like that.
Specht working a lot in the summer on his route running and has really perfected that art. And it's really wonderful to watch because every cut and jab is able to get the defender guessing and has really been open a lot this afternoon.
Now back to the outside zone to the left side is Mellion. Mellion has room. 5, touchdown York! Jake Mellion extending the lead with 14 seconds left in the third quarter. The junior, the zone running scheme to the left side this time. Switch has LT guessing and just shifting his way into the end zone.
Wow.
What a turn of events.
What a job there, and they send Wilczek back out for the kick after his good kickoff attempt there. Maybe they're feeling he's more used to the moment and used to the pressure and is going to be able to nail it through the uprights. But what a job by the offensive line to create that off-tackle opportunity. That was absolutely beautiful to watch. The blocking was in line and perfect in every facet, and then Mellion making a couple misses. Check goes up and right through. That one is rifled, going all the way near to the end of the famous blue track at Bennett Field here in LaGrange. What an offensive drive there. Is a couple quick passes, a couple short runs, and then before the end of the third quarter, the Dukes are back up 12.
And it's Mellion's second touchdown of the day. Quite the day for him scoring-wise. The Duke take advantage of the really short punt from LT and cash it in for a quick 7. So now 14 seconds to go in the third quarter. Duke's lead back up to 12. Blow for blow thus far in this third quarter. Both offenses finding the end zone at least once.
Yeah, great job there. And there was Eddie Turk was on that side as well. So I don't exactly know who the left tackle is for the Dukes. I'll check it out next time and shout them out. But that was a great seal block as they had to jump over to the opposite side of where Turk was lined up because Turk typically lines up far outside. And the ability to get over there and seal the edge, quite wonderful.
Yeah, the starting left tackle is Joe Reef, so shout out him.
At the 20-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10, Lions.
The Lions are going to get it at their own 20, so another good kickoff attempt from Wilczek. This first play will most likely bring us to the end of the third quarter. Going into the fourth quarter, the two undefeated West Suburban Silvers facing off right now.
Duke's trying to preserve their unbeaten record and doing a good job thus far. They lead by 12, and it'll likely stay that way going into the fourth quarter. Don't want to jinx anything. Now Jackson, quick strike down the near sideline, caught by number 2. That is Travis Stam, a sophomore.
Sophomore on varsity, very dynamic player. He's able to get a lot of separation through quick jabs and cuts.
That'll be the end of the third quarter. Duke's lead it by 12, just like they entered the third quarter with. So with this break, we'll take a quick one as well. Fourth quarter action coming right up. You're listening to York Sports Network. Don't go anywhere.
You ready?
Final quarter of action in this top 25 battle between LT and York. First play of the fourth quarter. Jackson going deep and has his man. That's Travis Stan, the second time they've targeted him, and an absolute dart by Ryan Jackson to move the chains. I mean, that was good coverage by, I believe that was
Jack Korzanowski.
Yeah, I mean, that was good coverage, but just an even better throw by Jackson.
Yeah, a cliche you hear all the time is that perfect offense always beats perfect defense, and that's an example of that right there.
So one of the longest plays of the afternoon for LT will set them up at the 45-yard line of York. Now a handoff to James Georgeless. Had a couple big runs, but has been mostly held in check today. Duke's front four.
Number 7, James Georgeless.
Not letting him sneak by.
Tackled by number 56.
Second and 10.
No gain. Second down.
So now back to the huddle for LT. Really taking their time despite being down 12.
That's something I would question as well, but they were very methodical and did the same thing their drive before last, and it really worked out well with a good scoring drive. But we'll have to see here as they don't have as much time left.
Jackson looking to throw again, steps up in the pocket, now dumps one off to the tight end Graham Smith. Smith works his way past the 34-yard line. That'll move the chains. So LT starting to put together a drive once more.
Graham Smith, for only his, I want to say, third target and second legal target, as one of them was a pass interference call with his great catch. But that was a good creative play by Jackson, as he was able to recognize the pressure, step up in the pocket, then escape the pocket after he had no room to go further up in it, and then was able to lob a little like push pass up to Graham using that 6'6" frame to his advantage.
Now first and 10, the handoff to Georgeless. Georgeless fighting for extra yards, and a really good run by him. Should be a gain of 6. Can't ask for much more than that on a first down run.
Definitely not. You're not going to be averaging, on average you have yards per carry, and typically you're not going to be much higher than 5 in most scenarios. So whenever you can get that, that's good. An effective runner.
Some pre-snap motion from Falls. Now here's Jackson, chased out of the pocket, and fires, has another man downfield. That is Jack Falls.
Going to bring up a third and real short here. Just a little more than 3 feet.
A gain of 5 on that play, 1 yard short of the first down.
The Dukes have done a good job of getting to Jackson, but they always kind of have him in a bit of a weird spot as he's spinning. They have not been able to bring him down for a sack since the first quarter.
Yeah, using his elusiveness, shiftiness, and athleticism to be able to escape any pressures.
Now the third down run moves the chains. James Georgeless right up the middle, head full of steam.
3 yards on that play to the 21-yard line for the first down, Lions.
Lions knocking on the red zone here. 1 yard out of it.
Nine minutes to play in this game. LT taking their sweet time to get back up to the line of scrimmage. Now Jackson looking to throw, has Smith targeted once again, refusing to go down inside the 5-yard line now. Graham Smith, the huge target. LT is really knocking on the door now. first and goal from the 3-yard line. Looking for 6.
18 yards on that play. First down and goal.
Lions with a little bit of tempo. The read option. Here's Jackson. Brought down at the 6. Great tackle by Reese Richardson. Almost lost him. But then a quick little shoestring tackle. And he falls down at the 5. Now second and goal. Loss of 2 on the play for the Lions.
It was a good job by the Dukes defense overall.
On the 5-yard line. Second and goal.
Reminder that both teams are undefeated going into this game. 4-0 versus 4-0, both ranked teams. LT's number 14 in the Sun Times Super 25. The Dukes stay at number 24, so the rankings should shift no matter the result of this game. Now Jackson looking and has his man for a touchdown. Number 2, Travis Stam, the sophomore. And now LT gets back in the end zone. The stands are fired up, and with 7:40, LT's in a similar spot they were in the third quarter where they cut the lead down to 6 or 5, depending on the result of the PAT. But you can't ask for much more than that. A great drive after going 3 and out in their previous drive.
A wonderful job from the sophomore. Just your classic pick play where you have the further towards the ball wide receiver going on a little curl route and sitting down right in between where the wide receiver goes and where the cornerback who's supposed to be following, as the kick was good, making it a game of 5 once again. So the Dukes offense is really going to either need to waste time and get in field goal range, or they're going to need to score a touchdown here to really extend it and kind of seal it. So this is probably the biggest drive of the game so far for the Dukes. But as I was saying, that little pick play doesn't really feel great whenever it happens to you, but it's such an easy way to exploit the rules, and they do it at all levels, every single level. You see it all the time in NFL football. A lot of Devontae Adams' his touchdowns are from that little pick play. It also helps with his route running ability. So all of that combined comes together, and it's going to be quite the easy score every time from that position. But a good throw from Jackson, a good throw from the offense to be able to convert on that play.
And, you know, LT just has so many weapons. Reese Richardson was playing press coverage on Graham Smith, who was the popular target on that drive, as here's the kick in the end zone. And it'll be a knee, so the Dukes will start from the 20. But going back to the touchdown, Graham Smith was the first look for Jackson, but he was covered. Good coverage, but just too many weapons, and he ends up finding Stam in the back left corner. But like you said, Josh, a huge drive for the Dukes offense. Still up by 5, but plenty of time remaining for anything to happen.
You know, the difference 5 gives you a little cushion that you have to just not allow a TD, but as soon as you allow any part of that ball to go across the plane into the end zone, therefore, that's going to be a touchdown. No matter, or a win for Lions, no matter what, depending on, obviously, the timing of it. But the Dukes are going to need to waste some time and get some yards here.
They start with a ground give to Melvin.
Something I'm always nervous about whenever we get to this situation is those inside zone runs haven't really been working too well today, especially in the second half, as the LT defensive line and front 7 overall has really been able to collapse on those runs, and most likely they're going to keep doing it to waste clock. But the short passing game has really worked well, so I want them to go to that more.
In the pistol, there's another run. This time it's bounced to the outside. A flag comes out. Melvin trying to bounce it to the outside to get extra yards, but he doesn't really accomplish that.
And he also stops the clock on that one, and that's not what you want to see.
It's not what the Coach Fitz was hoping for at all.
As we're seeing what's going to come of the flag on the field here, my guess is another holding. So that's been the theme of the second half Duke's offense. It is. So it's going to revert it back to second down, but make it second down and 20 here.
And the Dukes are going backwards, which is not what the doctor ordered for this crucial drive. These next couple of plays will really be a test to Coach Fitz to see how aggressive he will be. Or will he rely on his defense? The other thing you have to consider is the defense was just on the field for an 80-yard drive. They're a little bit tired, so you can at least hope the Dukes can pick up at least a couple of first downs just to give the defense some rest. But plenty of work to do. 2nd and 19. They look to be dialing up a deep pass. They got specked. Oh, just out of reach for him. He had a step on his defensive back. Now a 3rd and 19.
Third down.
Just a little short. The route was shaded a little too deep on that one. Unfortunate. Missed opportunity there, as Specht was definitely open enough for that pass to be completed. But the Dukes have 3rd and 20. And that's all they're going to need to get the first down. And it's going to be really crucial that they get the first down, because then they'll be able to waste another minute or so off the clock, at least if they even don't convert the next one.
Some movement for LT, trying to create confusion. Fezzik going deep down the left sideline, and he's got his man. It's Luke Maylander, the junior. One of the biggest catches of the day, and we've seen a lot of them. Maylander moves the chains and more into LT territory. Another example of the Dukes wide receivers just mossing their defensive backs. That one went for about 40. Unbelievable.
What a throw by Veza, and be able to shade it to the inside on like an outside seam route. It was quite incredible, and it was a wonderful throw and wonderful catch by both parties involved.
So one of the biggest momentum-shifting plays of the day goes in the Dukes' favor. Veza moves Melly into his right side. Saw something that he didn't like. Now he keeps it himself. Veza hit hard by number 15. Cooper King, the senior linebacker. Well, that does keep the clock moving. Halfway through the 4th quarter now.
The 2nd and 7. Taking their sweet time here, which all Duke fans appreciate to see, as they are in the lead and in good position here. But they still have a little bit to go, a little ways to go to score points.
In their standard 11 personnel, now an outside run to Mellion. Mellion taking a defender with him, moving the chains. A big run for him. Running through the C gaps has really been where most of his success has come from today. Shows the testament of the great play from Dominic Bagora.
12 yards on that run, puts the ball on the 30-yard line, where it is 1st and 10, York.
Yeah, that was a wonderful job, and then Mellion just running through a defensive back to gain an extra couple yards and get it to the 30-yard line. Now the Dukes are knocking on the door. We do not know. Wilczek has not started any games this year, so we don't really know what his field goal range is, but you got to assume the Dukes are going to try and help him out and get it even closer. And obviously the hope is a touchdown.
Definitely their prime concern. Now here's another run to Mellion.
The Lions with carry, number 30, tackled by number 11, Noah Bathlin, and number 15, Cooper King.
Gain of about 5. I will say the zone, I feel like the zone running scheme has been much better than the man-to-man running scheme.
2nd and 5.
It's definitely allowed Mellion a little bit more leeway, giving him that extra protection. Now 4:30 remaining in quarter 4. This is exactly what the Dukes needed. Testament to how huge that 3rd and 20 conversion was. 2nd and 5, Mellion to the outside again. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
And very short. Good job by Mancini there to seal off the block. And a good job by one of the defenders to make the tackle on that one. 4 minutes remaining.
3rd and a very long one to go. the handoff to Melvin, and he gets it.
What a job by Melvin.
You saw that juke?
I saw it. Juking out not only the 4-star Eddie Turek, but then also one of the best players on LT so far today, George Lowe, getting their ankles absolutely ripped from their legs and getting the first down. What a job by Melvin.
And talk about reflexes from a junior. George Lowe was in his face, and just a quick cut to the left. That's all he needed, and was able to pick up about 4, moving the chains and allowing the Dukes to take more time off the clock while still in range to put more points on the board. High snap, corralled by Veza, and he's just going to plow forward, dives down, and actually gets a pretty good gain on first down.
Much better than I was expecting, and also way to save the turnover there. A very high snap. Very high snap there, and he was able to corral it in. As if that was going over his head, that would have been quite disastrous for the Duke's efforts for the win today.
Veza has the reputation of being an improviser, can always turn up any broken play into positive yards.
Does it there again.
Does it there again.
That's why he was the preseason on the preseason West Suburban Silver Conference MVP watch list. A very tough conference with a lot of talent.
Here's the 2nd and 7 run to Melvin. Melvin into the end zone. Fantastic blocking once again. Melvin has a hat trick. And most importantly, the Dukes answer back and extend the lead back up to 11 with just over 2 minutes to play now. And that increases their chances of winning exponentially. What a drive from the Dukes offense as a whole, and most importantly, the junior Melvin. Unbelievable.
What a job there by the offensive line. Everyone involved had an amazing block there. That was absolutely beautiful job. That was a beautiful job there by the Dukes offense. Absolutely spectacular, and they're going for 2 here to make it a nice even 27 points instead of kind of an ugly football number and 26 points. Zvezda's going to release it. Caught. Good play there. Was getting sacked at the time. I think that's Maylander with it. It is. It's going to give him that 2-point conversion. It's now 27-14. This makes it virtually that was a big 2-point conversion, because now even if LT scores and let's say they just kick the extra point and say we'll go for 2 later.
Game now.
Has to be a 2-possession game, as well as that means they won't automatically win if they score 2 touchdowns like they would have if they just went for 2. So great job there by LT, or not by LT, by the Dukes against LT, and really just essentially sealing the game. Gonna knock on wood. I promise our table is wooden. I am knocking on it.
Was that the nail in the coffin, though? I mean, ice in his veins. Normally hear that term on the basketball court, but in terms of closing the game type of drives, that's about as good as you can get from the Dukes.
Great job all around on that drive. And Will check lines up here for the kick. Probably going to try and send it pretty deep. He does, curling left.
That's received, and he goes out of bounds. A bit of a mental block there. If he let it bounce, it definitely would have bounced out of bounds, and it would have been much better field position.
Almost would have went out of bounds on the fly, as he probably caught it and had to toe drag to keep his feet in for that one. But that's going to make sure that LT has quite the long way to go. Good kickoff there by Will Check to pin him deep. That's going to make it, if I can do quick maths, it's going to be 84 yards, quite the long drive.
Now, we're not saying anything can happen. 2 minutes and 18 seconds. We've seen crazier things happen. But we're talking an 84-yard touchdown drive plus an onside kick and then another touchdown drive. That's what's at stake for LT right now. That's what they need to accomplish if they want to have a chance at winning. Especially
since their entire offense today has been slow, methodical, and eating away at the Dukes defense, as they had a nice cap on any of the big plays. They're forcing a scramble.
Now the scramble, and he eventually has to throw it away.
Number 9, Jackson.
Jackson was really forced out of the pocket. So much pressure there. Ashton Naraki was right in his face as he threw it. Now 2nd and 10. Haven't really seen LT run the 2-minute drill on any of their drives thus far, just like you said, Josh, as there is a flag.
On that play. There is a holding call on your Lyons Township line.
And a holding on LT backs him up even further. And with 2 minutes remaining, the Lions are really on the ropes now. And if I'm the defensive coordinator for the Dukes, I'm just saying just play smart. Don't make any mental blocks. Don't make it any easier to them than it has to be.
Yeah, that's exactly what Mr. Bible is doing up there just to our right. He's saying no big plays, no penalties. Those are two absolute knots here. You know, you're going to have to run a lot of sprints if you allow either of those things this upcoming week, especially whenever you're playing a great team like Glenbard West, who's currently ranked 5th in the state. So you will have to be perfect in every aspect to beat them. And today the Dukes have been amazing. But nothing here, nothing big here, no penalties.
Now 2nd and long. Out route is caught for a pretty good gain. That's number 17. Jack McQueenie, senior wideout. Now under 2 minutes to go. LT has to hurry back to the line.
Timeout here, Lions, I think.
Timeout by somebody. Timeout Dukes, actually. And while they talk it over, we'll take a quick break ourselves. Dukes 27, Lions 14.
Second and 17 here. Jackson with it.
And
going up in the pocket, sacked.
Sacked. He may have tripped over his own guy, but nonetheless, he gets the job done, which is losing yardage. Under 100 seconds to play now. Still being very slow going back to the line, not using a timeout either. LT has 2 remaining. 3rd and 22 now on their own 4-yard line.
Even Jackson, the quarterback, with running back to the huddle with the play with no real hustle, just kind of jogging lightly back as if they've accepted defeat today.
I've never seen this before. They just have no urgency. Now a quarterback draw on 3rd down is stuffed.
Sacked again.
Number 2, Jacob Young, or excuse me, number 21, Cole Ostendorf. Now a 4th down and long. Clock is still running. Gotta think LT's accepting defeat here. And out comes the punt team, and that'll be all she wrote. The Dukes with a statement win on the road at the Saturday afternoon at Lyons Township High School. The Dukes preserve their undefeated record, now move to 5-0 for the 2nd straight year.
Yeah, what a job by the Dukes. This was an impressive win, showing my statement from earlier about Downers Grove North possibly being better than Lions this year. Lions didn't really convince me, with their schedule. They had a couple of decent wins, and they really dominated OPRF, but that Hinsdale Central win at home, the student sections were rowdy and had a huge effect on the game. This Lions team is still good no matter what, but they're going to be they're still a great team, don't get me wrong. Right? They're still a great team. However, we're going to have to see if Downers Grove North is going to be able to steal 3rd in the division from them, or 3rd in the conference from them. Lyons Township and Downers Grove face off, I want to say, at the end of the year as a season cap-off game. as a season cap-off game, and it was just an absolute dominant performance by the Dukes, as they really were able to come out here and control tempo, control pace, control pretty much every aspect of the game. This is exactly what you want, and against a top 15 ranked team going into this, it's quite the impressive run, and it's going to cause them to fly up the rankings, maybe even possibly sneak in the end of the top 10, as there was a lot of top 10 upsets last night, with mainly number 6 Mount Prospect losing to crosstown rival Hersey, as well as Warren Township losing to near-town rival, because once you get up that far north, they aren't necessarily 2 high schools to 1 town. Near-town rival Lake Zurich as well. So the Dukes could possibly get up there in the top 10. We'll see. The rankings come out tomorrow, but thank you all for joining us.
And as for the Dukes, next week they take on undefeated Glenbard West at home next Friday, It'll be again another battle of the undefeateds. But a statement win here for the Dukes, spoiling LT's homecoming. We thank you so much for watching from everybody at YSN. I am Gavin Connolly. Final score once more, Dukes 27, Lyons 14. Have a great night, Dukes fans.